I'm Elena Washington, and I should have realized that Tuesday would alter the course of my life when my coffee maker gave out at 6 a.m., standing in my small Newark apartment. I gazed at the pile of budget reports, the crimson ink spilling across the pages, my kitchen table. The city planning department was hit with yet another wave of budget cuts, and I found myself in a position where I had to navigate the numbers to work while 3 community parks hung in the balance. Damn bureaucrats, I muttered, grabbing yesterday's cold, the warm aroma of coffee wafting from the counter. My green eyes felt gritty from another sleepless night, spent wrestling with spreadsheets that seemed to blur into the background of my thoughts. Never quite felt complete. The phone vibrated softly. Elena, the mayor is eager to see those projections. By midday, my assistant's voice shimmered through the static, a soft yet electric connection that sparked something deep within me. Convey to him that I desire more. Moment. You're aware she won't appreciate that. I understood the narrative of my existence. Not enough moments, insufficient funds, and an overwhelming number of souls relying on me to create the extraordinary. 20 meters away, Bella Stewart observed her. The magnificent stallion Thunder soared over the jump, embodying elegance and strength in every movement. The crisp autumn morning enveloped her equestrian estate in gold. Each blade of grass stands meticulously trimmed, every fence post shining bright and pristine. Magnificent form, she called to. Her mentor. Her blue eyes followed the horse's movement with a deep understanding, a skill honed over countless experiences. Devoted equestrian skills. The architects reached out regarding the expansion, her assistant said nonchalantly. They require approval for the gathering space plans. Bella nodded with a contemplative expression. The Stewart, the weight of her family's legacy rested on her shoulders, a burden she embraced wholeheartedly, particularly in her commitment to uplift Newark's underserved communities. Her golden locks shimmered in the sunlight as she glanced back at the main house. Let's set up a time to connect. This project is something I truly desire, completed perfectly. That evening, I reluctantly made my way to Mendy's Books, the final independent bookstore in downtown Newark. The author signing promised insights into urban inequality, and I desperately needed fresh perspectives. For tomorrow's presentation, the small space buzzed with intellectual energy. Academics, activists, and curious. Residents clustered around tables, stacked high with copies of Bridging the Divide Class and Community in Modern America. I reached for the last copy on the display table, just as another hand touched the same book. Sorry, a warm voice said. You were here first. I looked up into startling blue eyes framed by blonde waves that belonged in a magazine, not a Newark bookstore. Everything about this woman screamed money, from her tailored jacket to the subtle gleam of her jewelry. We can share, I offered. Though something about her made me want to keep talking. I'm just looking for ammunition against city council. She laughed, a genuine sound that cut through the evening's pretense. Strategy or scheming? Both of them. Elena, Washington, city growth. Bella Stewart. I have a piece of land just beyond the city limits. We lingered in that moment, fingers intertwined. As my fingers brushed against the book spine, an undeniable tension stirred in the air around us. Her presence drew everyone in effortlessly. Struggling, as I likely appeared to be just what I was, a weary public servant, operating on empty and resolve. What draws you to the topic of disparity? I inquired. Commitment to family, transformed into a deeply personal quest, she responded with an air of mystery. And you? I experience it every day. The author started to speak, but my attention drifted to Bella's profile rather than jotting down notes. She was fully engaged, with focused attention, occasionally affirming the discussion on systemic obstacles and the allocation of resources. As she shifted to whisper a remark about the speaker's innocent hopefulness, her breath caressing my ear. And theories are delightful, she whispered. But have you attempted to bring about change with an unwelcoming city council? I suppressed a chuckle. Each single day after the event, we lingered on the sidewalk while other attendees dispersed into the Newark night. Coffee. Is it happening tomorrow? Bella inquired unexpectedly. I'm curious to know your thoughts on connecting different worlds. I paused. Everything about her hinted at complexities I couldn't handle, yet my curiosity drew me in one afternoon at Grounds Cafe. Perfect. As she strolled toward a stylish car that likely exceeded my yearly earnings, I found myself pondering what had just transpired. Agreed to. The autumn wind whispered of transformation, and I felt a stirring within me that suggested my meticulously arranged life was on the brink of something new. I was on the brink of a much more intricate situation. I reached Grounds Cafe 5 minutes ahead of schedule, holding tightly to my well-loved leather. The weight of my bag felt like armor. The morning city council meeting had been brutal. Parks funding slashed by another 30%. I needed caffeine and sanity, not whatever this encounter with Bella Stewart might unfold. She stepped in precisely at noon, effortlessly graceful in a cream sweater that likely exceeded my monthly rent. Eyes followed her as she glided through the tight quarters, yet she appeared unaware of the gazes around her. Elena, she grinned, settling into the seat opposite. From me? You seem like you've been battling with the system. I conceded defeat, attempting to ignore how her blue eyes sparkled with joy when she smiled. 3 community centers have now turned into empty spaces. That's a shame. Her voice resonated with heartfelt frustration. Those communities deserve secure havens for their youth. I examined her expression, looking for the feigned worry that affluent individuals typically exhibited. Instead, I discovered it seemed like genuine suffering. Those with wealth often turn a blind eye to the struggles of Newark, I remarked thoughtfully. Those who hold wealth often remain oblivious to the devastation of communities, comfortably discussing figures and strategies from their polished boardrooms. Fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup. I grew up in privilege, yet the past 10 years have been a journey of self-discovery, seeking to understand how to use it wisely. We spent 2 hours in conversation. Her fervor for social justice caught me off guard at every twist and turn. She understood data regarding the decline of urban areas, grasped the intricacies of development, politics, and posed inquiries that uncovered authentic. I have a curiosity about what you do. Come, walk with me, she invited, as the afternoon shadows. As we wandered through the vibrant streets of the ironbound district, the aroma of Portuguese pastries filled the air, and we passed by families enjoying their time together. Stoops. I found myself highlighting landmarks, sharing the history of the neighborhood's transformation while she listened with undivided focus. You have a special connection to this city, she noted, as we stopped by a mural showcasing Newark's industrial charm. Narrative. Love can be so intricate, I replied, like nurturing a connection with someone who keeps shattering your heart. I can relate to that emotion. There was something in her voice that conveyed. As I observed her more intently, I caught a glimpse of the fragility hidden beneath her polished facade, a depth that riches could never conceal. Shield. What shatters your heart, Bella? She paused in her steps, turning to meet my gaze, completely, observing possibilities slip away as individuals fail to look beyond their disparities. The night breeze brought the scent of rain mingled with the soft glow of flickering streetlights surrounding us. We were drawn closer, close enough for me to notice, flashes of silver in her blue eyes. I have a proposition, she said softly. My ranch needs community development, advising. The initiative seeks to develop engaging learning experiences for younger children, creative expression, nature-inspired. Learning can feel like a costly endeavor. It's a commitment to the love that will inspire those who come after us. Her voice became more resolute. I seek a partner who comprehends the intricacies of our shared experiences and the dynamics of bringing change to life. I experience the familiar pull of possibility intertwined with doubt, Why me? Because you stand up for those who are unable to stand up for themselves. Because you know what it takes to create something meaningful from nothing. She paused, studying my face. Because I believe in your instincts. Belief, the word, hung between us like a bridge neither of us had planned to cross. I needed to see the proposal, understand the scope. I said, my instincts sharpening even as my heart quickened. Naturally. Dinner tomorrow. I can't wait to share the plans with you. The rain has started to fall, gentle drops cascading down that caught the streetlight and turned everything golden. Without thinking, I stepped closer, drawn by an undeniable connection I couldn't name. Elena, she whispered, and in that moment, her hand found my cheek, her thumb gently wiping away a raindrop. The kiss ignited like a spark, unexpected and charged with energy. Her lips were soft, warm, and carried the rich flavor of coffee. Potential. For a moment, everything else faded away. The rain cascading around us like a veil, shielding us from the outside world. As we pulled away, both gasping for air, I caught a glimpse of my own uncertainty mirrored in her gaze. I should go, I said, even though every instinct urged me to remain. Absolutely, she concurred. Yet neither of us shifted. At last, I pulled away, the moment shattered by the glare of a car's headlights cutting through the night. Tomorrow it is, I replied softly. The day after today, I strolled home beneath the falling rain, my lips still buzzing, my thoughts swirling with uncertainties I wasn't prepared to face. To respond. Everything about Bella Stewart embodied the complexities I couldn't manage in my meticulously orchestrated existence. But as I ascended the stairs to my apartment, I couldn't shake the memory of the way she had gazed at me. Me. As if I were a rare gem she had longed for without even realizing it. A message lit up my phone, breaking the silence. Thanks a lot for sharing your latest creation with me. I can't wait to share my universe with you. I gazed at the message for what felt like an eternity before, responding, see you tomorrow. Outside my window, the city glimmered in the rain, and for the first time in months, it seemed as though the world was full of endless possibilities. The iron gates of Bella's estate swung open, unveiling a hidden paradise. The battered Honda glided through the meticulously kept grounds that seemed to extend endlessly, pondering every choice that led. Here I am. The grand residence stood tall, adorned with classic columns and a refined charm that whispered of timeless beauty. Elena. Bella made her entrance on the front steps, wearing riding boots and snug jeans that turned my department store blazer into something coarse and uncomfortable. Greetings. To Meadowbrook. Within, expansive windows stretched from floor to ceiling, revealing paddocks where horses roamed freely, glided like vibrant works of art. I made an effort to avoid staring at the unique artworks or an exquisite grand piano that likely exceeds the value of my car. The plans for the project, she said, guiding me into a study filled with leather-bound volumes. Architectural drawings sprawled across a rich mahogany table that could accommodate 12, a gathering place for creativity, a hub for learning about our planet, scholarship initiative for students in Newark. I spoke with a voice that carried through the air, amazed against my own expectations. This is bold and daring, overly driven. Her voice carried a hint of fragility. No, it's absolutely captivating. I gently followed the suggested routes with my fingertip. However, putting this into action will present its own set of difficulties. Zoning approvals, environmental impact studies, community support. That's the reason I crave your presence. We leaned over the plans, her shoulder gently grazing mine as she highlighted the intricate details. The fragrance of her fragrance, delicate and luxurious, clouded my focus. The way the funding is set up worries me, I uttered, attempting to concentrate. This level of private investment could encounter political challenges. Defiance. What do you think would be best? Collaborative Initiative Stage Growth Community Guidance Panel. The words spilled forth, each one a reflection of the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in my mind. We require community members who are passionate about achieving our goals. Incredible, she whispered. And when I glanced up, I found her gaze fixed on me rather than the blueprints. In your eyes, possibilities unfold where others perceive challenges. Our gazes intertwined, and the atmosphere surrounding us crackled with an undeniable energy I could no longer dismiss. We need to talk about the timeline. I took care of it. In a gentle whisper, she offered, "Allow me to reveal something to you. The stables first." The barn was filled with the earthy scent of hay and leather, while the gentle sounds of horses nickering softly echoed from their stalls. Bella shifted, among them as if she were one of them, gently stroking necks and whispering warm hellos. "This is Luna," she said, pausing beside a sleek bay mare. "She's gentle yet full of life, much like her owner." Bella turned, taken aback by my courage. "Would you like to ride?" "I'm not sure how to. I'll show you." Moments later, I found myself perched anxiously in the saddle as Bella fine-tuned my stirrups, her touch reassuring against my legs. She mounted her own horse with fluid grace, then rode beside me as Luna walked sedately around the ring. "Relax, Bella," called. "Let her sense your assurance." "I don't possess any," I confessed, clutching the res. "You have more than you realize. Understand." Slowly, I discovered a harmony in Luna's soft stride. The surroundings appeared, distinct from horseback. Viewpoint transformed both literally and metaphorically. Improved. Bella beamed, approaching with intent. "You're a natural." As the lesson came to a close, she assisted me in dismounting, her hands gently wrapping around my waist as I gracefully slid down. We stood pressed together in the golden afternoon light filtering through barn windows. "Elena," she whispered, my heart racing as the warmth of her breath danced against my skin. Name lingered like a sweet melody on her lips. This time, when our lips met, I embraced the moment fully. Her kiss was warm, passionate, and I melted against her, months of loneliness dissolving in her embrace. My hands tangled in her golden locks as she pressed me against Luna's stall, the mare whinnying softly as if approving our bond. "I desire you," Bella whispered, against my neck, her lips igniting a warmth along my skin. "Here," I gasped, aware of the forbidden, even as longing eclipsed reason. "The tack room," she whispered, grasping my hand and guiding me into a cozy nook adorned with saddles and bridles. She pressed me softly against the wooden wall, her presence pressed into mine with an urgent longing. What came next faded into a whirlwind of feeling and soft murmurs. Her hands, an intensity that felt both electric and tender, as our bodies intertwined, savoring every moment. The world around us faded, leaving only the warmth of our connection, an intensity that had built over countless encounters, ultimately surrendering to the undeniable attraction that had lingered between us, unspoken yet palpable. As we lay wrapped in each other's warmth on the soft horse blankets, the gentle embrace of twilight began to weave its way into our world. "This makes things more intricate," I murmured. "Everything that holds value is never simple." Bella replied, her fingers dancing lightly on my arm. The question lingered in the air, whether the complexity was worth it. I met her gaze, golden locks cascading down, azure eyes shimmering with contentment, and I sensed a profound change settle deep within my heart. This enchanting woman, with her wealth and privilege, should have been wrong for me in every way. Instead, lying in her arms, enveloped by the warm scent of horses and hay enveloped me, and in that moment, I felt an undeniable sense of belonging. "The project," I began, "eventually, will move forward as intended," she concluded. "This doesn't alter my requirement for your skills. And this," I moved her hands between us. The warmth of her smile was gentle, filled with hesitation. Changes everything else. As I drove home through Newark's familiar streets, my body still tingling from Bella's touch, I wondered what I had gotten myself into. The city appeared unchanged, yet it felt transformed, as if I were viewing it through a new lens, new eyes. One thing was certain. My carefully ordered world had just become infinitely more complicated. Elena, have you completely lost it? My sister Caitlin stood in the doorway of my kitchen, clutching a delivery box that had just arrived, an hour earlier. Inside, wrapped in delicate tissue paper that seemed more valuable than my weekly groceries, rested a cashmere scarf that felt like liquid silk. "It's just a gift," I protested, though my cheeks burned with a mix of warmth and shyness. The scarfs, Grace teased the mismatched furniture and secondhand dishes in my apartment. "Is this just a gift?" Caitlin's deep, expressive eyes blazed. "Elena, this woman is toying with your heart. Wealthy individuals often hold back offers without seeking anything in exchange. You haven't met her yet. I'm familiar with her style. A privileged young woman seeking to uplift someone in need, hoping to find purpose in her generosity." Caitlin sank into her seat with a weighty sigh. Kitchen table, fingers wrapped tightly around the scarf. What unfolds when she tires of living in a laid-back manner? I felt the urge to contest. Yet, uncertainty settled in softly, like the gentle embrace of dawn's mist. The past week had been a whirlwind of lavish dinners and intimate writing sessions, lessons, and stolen kisses that left me enchanted and disoriented. Each offering, every act of kindness resonated deeply. Beautiful and a bit unconventional, she is deeply invested in the community project I mentioned every week. Absolutely she does. Wealthy remorse engages in meaningful giving until the incentives fade away. That evening, Bella arrived to take me to the Children's Hospital charity gala. She stepped out of her Mercedes, draped in midnight blue silk that likely surpassed my monthly earnings. Salary, while I'd borrowed a black dress from Caitlin that felt like slipping into a second skin, one that belonged to someone else. "Your beauty is captivating." Bella leaned in, her soft lips brushing against my cheek, igniting a cascade of familiar shivers that danced along my spine. The elegant ballroom of the hotel shimmered with elegance under the glow of crystal chandeliers, surrounded by 300 of Newark's most affluent residents. I traced Bella's path through a labyrinth of playful gestures and light conversation, feeling like a stranger in stylish heels that already left me with scars. "Bella, my dear," a graceful woman with silver hair and pearls appeared beside us. "I heard you're exploring the world of social work now." "Community growth?" Bella clarified with grace. "Margaret Henley. Allow me to introduce you to Elena Washington. She's the visionary behind the urban landscape I'm working on in New York." Margaret's radiant smile transformed into a frozen landscape. "How wonderfully selfless of you." The remark struck with precision. Accuracy. Heat rushed to my cheeks as the surrounding chatter came to a halt. Affluent visages, turning our way with a gentle curiosity that conceals unspoken judgments. "Elena's efforts weave connections within neighborhoods," Bella declared with conviction. "This city is yearning for something truly special." Clearly, Margaret's tone conveyed a sense of disagreement. Yet, I find myself contemplating whether personal resources could be more effectively channeled into well-established organizations. A larger crowd began to assemble, enticed by the aroma of interpersonal intrigue. I sensed the hungry glint in their gaze, the way predators hover around the vulnerable. Target. The public sector has its significance. A figure in a stylish tuxedo interjected with confidence. Yet, one must consider that personal ventures often provide more effective answers. "It all hinges on what you're looking to unravel," I replied, discovering my voice. "Effective in what way? Relocating those in need to a different place? That's not the way to find a solution." It's a shift in belonging. And a heavy stillness enveloped the room. Bella's fingers intertwined with mine, a soft pressure that sent warmth through me. But I noticed calculation in various forms surrounding us. They were gauging the space that lay between Bella and me, contemplating how earnestly to embrace this connection. "Pardon us," Bella said with a chill in her voice, guiding me firmly toward the bar. "I'm craving some bubbly." However, the harm had been inflicted. During the meal, I noticed hushed exchanges that fell silent as I drew near. Women who would smiled at Bella, who now looked at me with a hint of barely concealed disdain. They spoke of their plans and ambitions, oblivious to my presence in the room. "Take me home," I whispered at the silent auction, the weight of my feelings too heavy to hide any longer. Outside the hotel, Bella turned to face me, her expression a mystery in the warm glow of the parking lot's amber light. "You managed. That was beautifully done," she said. "I made you feel uncomfortable. You stood up for what you believe in. I respect that. Do you?" Words spilled out before I could hold them back, as your friends regarded me with the disdain one might reserve for something stuck to the bottom of their shoes. And truly, Bella, I sensed it as well. Her facade shattered. "What does that mean? To signify this?" I motioned back and forth between us. Years of unspoken tension reaching a breaking point. "You arrive with lavish presents and extravagant meals, attempting to mend my troubles with wealth. What do I truly mean to you? A. Endeavor? Exploration of relationships? That's quite unjust, don't you think? Are you looking to make improvements in Newark? Rescue the girl from the less fortunate part of the city? Embrace the journey of understanding your advantages and how they shape your experiences?" Bella took a step back, as if I had struck her. "Is that really how you see me? I'm feeling so lost right now." My voice cracked on the confession. "You casually suggest covering my student loans as if it were no big deal. Can you grasp the emotions that stir within me because of that? Similar to, I feel like I'm in need of saving rather than deserving of admiration. I was just trying to lend a hand. I never requested. Assistance needed. I sought collaboration and expert advice. Instead, you're treating me like someone who's dependent on you." The words lingered in the air, heavy and charged. Bella's complexion turned pale, then blossomed with color, with passion. "A woman under someone's care? Is that truly how you perceive what we have together?" "What? Connection, Bella? Intense passion and your secret expenses. Leave my car, please." "What do you mean?" I said what I said. If that's your perspective, if you hold our connection in such low regard, then it's best you leave. I gazed at her, witnessing the clash of pain and anger reflected in her blue eyes. Joy and sorrow intertwined within me. But courage prevailed. I stepped out of the sleek Mercedes, my heart racing as I strolled through the well-known streets of Newark, each corner holding memories that felt both comforting and exhilarating. My borrowed, the dress, a symbol of all that has gone awry between us. Behind me, the sound of high-end tires screeched against the pavement as Bella left the scene. In my apartment, I tossed the cashmere scarf into my closet, attempting to ignore the emptiness of my bed, unexpectedly experienced. 3 weeks of silence loomed between Bella and me, an unbridgeable divide that felt insurmountable. The project files lingered on my desk, neglected as I immersed myself in the monotony of zoning applications and budget reports. The phone sat in silence, refusing to break the stillness. No lavish surprises graced my doorstep, and I reassured myself that this was how I wanted it to be. I was deceiving. Late Thursday afternoon, my exploration into the intricacies of estate development patterns took me on an unexpected journey through official documents. Stewart Holdings was involved in numerous transactions, yet one particularly piqued my interest. A union, an announcement from 2 years prior in the pages of the Metropolitan Society. Bella Stewart, the daughter of a powerful industrialist. Richard Stewart shares the exciting news of his engagement to the esteemed businessman Marcus Henley, the promise that remained unfulfilled. I gazed at the faded image of Bella, draped in a stunning evening gown, her presence captivating next to a refined gentleman with silver hair. Gently weaving her fingers through the strands of her dark hair, they appeared flawless as a pair, as if they had emerged from the pages of a magazine celebrating beauty. Affluent individuals, enjoying exquisite, luxurious lifestyles. Further exploration uncovered the unexpected conclusion of the engagement just 6 months later. No explanations, no drama, just a quiet note that the wedding had been put on hold indefinitely because of family matters. Reflections. What family dynamics might lead someone like Bella to turn away from such clear social connections? Acceptance? Friday morning arrived with a surprise guest at my office. Soze Perez stood in my doorway wearing the same enchanting smile that had once sent my heart fluttering. Now it simply left me feeling drained. Elena, radiant as always, she said, making themselves comfortable in the chair opposite my desk, uninvited. I heard you're seeing someone with a lot of money. Updates. Move swiftly through Newark. Quicker when it's daring. Her dark eyes studied my visage. Your expression seems troubled. I appear occupied. She leaned forward, elbows on her knees. I've stumbled, Elena. Large ones. Yet, what we shared was genuine. A connection that felt right. We connected deeply, the realms of others. We ended things because you were never ready to go beyond just the weekend. I was naive, foolish. I'm changed now. Her voice held the sincerity that had always been her most captivating strength. Secure employment, financial cushion, account. Prepared to build a life together, with the partner I was meant to be with 3 years ago. I gazed at her, truly gazed at her. Beautiful, comforting, known. Everything about her represented a path I understood. A life free from complexities or the need for benevolence, where I felt out of place. Consider it, she whispered gently. Don't discard something genuine for whatever dream you're pursuing with the privilege, darling. That weekend, my curiosity led me to the Newark Public Library, newspaper archives. I looked for any reference to Bella's shattered engagement, discovering only whispers among the elite. Whispers and intrigue. However, I discovered something different. A brief piece discussing the issue of domestic violence, a refuge that had been blessed with a generous anonymous gift just as Bella's engagement came to a close. The quantity matched what a bridal gown and celebration at the Metropolitan Club could have been priced at. Monday unveiled a new understanding in a surprising shape. The head librarian of the city, Mrs. Chen, glided over to my desk, her smile filled with understanding. Elena, my dear, I have something that could pique your curiosity. She passed me a local magazine from 3 years back. Its pages turned to a discussion segment. The story delved deeper into her journey, revealing the passion and determination that fueled her mission. Bella's smile radiated warmth, capturing the essence of her spirit, while the words painted a vivid picture of her commitment to making a difference. She appeared transformed, youthful yet reserved, her smile tinged with hesitation instead of warmth. The conversation explored her choice to share her legacy with meaningful initiatives instead of relying on her family's wealth. I desire to claim my rightful spot in the world, Bella was quoted as expressing. Money you don't work for feels like slipping into someone else's skin. It never fits right. The interview touched on a past connection that had illuminated her path to genuine existence, and the challenges she faced due to her family's disapproval of her generous endeavors. They worry I'm being exploited, Bella had uttered. Yet, I find myself concerned about the implications of my presence, feeling as though I might be exploiting the advantages that come from a privilege I did not work for. I read the article 3 times, the moments, every word transforming my perception of the woman I had distanced myself from. The Bella within those pages wasn't a affluent young woman engaging in charitable endeavors. She was a soul in search of purpose, yearning for something deeper than the riches passed down to her. Someone feeling adrift, as I was, yet coming from a different path. My phone vibrated softly, revealing a message from Jose. Tonight's meal awaits. I created. Bookings at Rosario's. I gazed at the message, then at the magazine article, then around my vacant office where Bella's project files lingered, a testament to stories yet to be told. Everything I believed I understood about Bella Stewart shattered as I finally grasped the significance of her shattered engagement. She had turned her back on the expectations of others, on the straightforward journey, away from all the expectations her life had placed upon her, just as she had always done. She turned away from me when I confronted her about attempting to win my heart with material gestures. My fingers lingered above my phone, caught in a dilemma, crafting a reply to Jose while glancing at Bella's number, which I had committed to memory even though I had never dialed it. Jose extended an invitation, security, comfort, a path I could foresee and navigate. Bella presented a tapestry of doubt and intricacy, and the thrilling chance of something remarkable. Outside my office window, Newark thrived in its vibrant chaos, individuals navigating the spaces of their legacies and the realms they desire. For the first time in weeks, I realized that I faced a similar decision to confront. The dilemma lay in my willingness to embrace the uncertainty instead of clinging to the familiar, that took me to places I never wished to be. I reached out to Bella at the stroke of midnight on Tuesday. My hands trembled as I waited for the phone to connect. As the voicemail began, her voice came through with a polished and professional tone. Remote. It's Elena. I came across the details of your engagement, reflecting on that interview from 3 years back. I had misjudged it all. Reach out, tell myself. Her call came through at 6 a.m., pulling me from a fitful slumber. Elena, her voice, was careful, protective. I didn't know if our paths would cross once more. Can we have a conversation in individual? 3 hours later, I found myself in Bella's study, the very space where we had first leaned over architectural plans and uncovered a connection that left us both breathless. She appeared weary, with dark circles beneath her blue eyes, her typical shine somewhat dulled, muted. Apologies, I interrupted her, before she had the chance to respond to my words. What I presumed? You weren't completely off, she said softly. I made an effort to address your challenges with finances. Familiar patterns, yet not for the reasons I expected. She nestled, settled into the leather chair opposite me, drawing her knees up as if to shield herself. My family instilled in me the belief that wealth can solve problems, all things, challenges, individuals, complex emotions. It took years to realize that sometimes it simply feels things more complicated. Similar to her reaction with Marcus, her expression grew tense. You looked into my commitment. Official documents. I'm someone who likes to have everything organized, don't forget? Exploration is my passion. I leaned in closer. What's going on, Bella? Her silence lingered, and I began to wonder if she would ever respond. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft and filled with unspoken emotions. Softly spoken, almost inaudible. She seemed flawless in every way. Affluent upbringing, prestigious education, fulfilling my parents' expectations. Desired. We shared 2 beautiful years together, and our engagement felt like the natural next step in our journey. She hesitated, the evening prior to our commitment. At the party, I shared a kiss with a woman during a charity event. My heart raced. Sarah Chen, the event planner. It was a fleeting moment, perhaps just half a minute, yet it transformed everything. In that moment, clarity washed over me. revealing the depth of connection found in companionship. She always felt like she was part of a beautiful narrative. You ended the engagement. Not at once. I attempted to convince myself it was merely a mix of uncertainty and the pressures of planning a wedding. But Sarah and I began to explore our connection in hidden. For half a year, I navigated two worlds, organizing a wedding for a man while my heart was captivated by a woman. The heartache, her voice pierced through me like shards of glass. What became of Sarah? My father discovered the truth, got her dismissed, and issued threats to ruin her future if she didn't depart from Newark. The engagement concluded that very week. Ella's voice trembled just a bit. I never saw her again. You were compelled to make a decision. The decision was taken out of my hands. Sarah walked away to shield her heart, revealing that the affection from my family was bound by expectations I could never fulfill. We found ourselves sitting in an intense stillness, the gravity of her revelation hanging in the air around us. Every aspect of her hesitation, her trepidation. The idea of diving headfirst into something without hesitation felt completely right. Is that the reason you were so cautious around me? I inquired. I was unable to endure the pain of losing someone like that once more. Her blue eyes locked onto mine, filled with a mix of vulnerability and fear. Yet, I found it impossible to hold back from falling for you. Bella, you were spot on about the presents, the cash. I found myself striving to demonstrate my ability to care for you, as that is my way of expressing affection. It's the sole path, I discovered. She gracefully rose from the chair, gliding over to the window. But you don't need to be looked after. What you seek is a deep connection. Honor, fairness, the priceless aspects of life. I approached her, gently placing, my hand softly resting on her arm. She turned, and I noticed the glimmer of tears on the brink of falling from her gaze. I shattered when you walked away that evening, she murmured. A wave of overwhelming anxiety crashed over me in my driveway. Haven't had one of those since Sarah left. I'm here now. For how long? Until the next chapter unfolds. Every time I stumble, say something off, or make you uneasy at a gathering. With words, I kissed her, soft and tentative at first, then deeper as she responded with an insatiable longing. Her embrace enveloped me, a firm grip as if I were a fleeting dream. Escape with me, she whispered softly, her breath brushing against my lips. There's a secluded cabin nestled in the mountains. Just the two of us, with no one else in sight. No pressure, no external expectations. Bella, I beg you to allow me to reveal my true self when I'm not. Stood in vibrant hues, their leaves whispering secrets to the gentle breeze. The cabin, a cozy refuge, felt alive with the warmth of shared laughter and unspoken connections, inviting those who entered to explore the depths of their hearts. Burned bright in the warm afternoon light. For 3 days, we thrived in our own little universe, preparing uncomplicated dishes, enjoying strolls under the stars, sharing secrets until the dawn breaks. Without her riches and the barriers I had built around my heart, we uncovered the depths of our true selves in each other's presence. She guided my hand as we sent stones dancing across the water, while I unveiled the secrets of the night sky to her. From the deck of the cabin, we embraced by the flickering glow, gentle and passionate, as if we had an eternity to cherish. I felt an emptiness during my childhood, Bella admitted one evening as we lay intertwined together on the cabin's couch, enveloped by dreams and desires, yet always feeling invisible for my true self. I felt a sense of solitude as well, I responded, my fingers gliding over her exposed skin, shoulder. Yet from barren bank accounts and missing guardians, a unique form of solitude emerged. Perhaps that's the reason we discovered one another. Two distinct forms of solitude that intertwine in a unique way. On our final evening at the cabin, she revealed in her early years, She observed the slow disintegration of her parents' union, burdened by the pressures of societal expectations and the demands of their family enterprise. Tensions. "I promised myself I'd never choose that path," she murmured, gazing at the stars shimmering on the surface of the lake. "Union is a blend. Affection. Is that what you're worried it will turn into? I'm not sure I understand. Understand how to love without the urge to mend, offer, or save." Her voice was soft in the shadows. "It's everything I've ever known." "Then we'll explore this journey together," I said, drawing her nearer. "Because what I feel for you is unlike anything I've experienced before. Can be purchased or repaired. It simply exists." We embraced once more that evening, fervent and intense, capturing every feeling and an intimate bond amidst the unpredictable future that awaited us in Newark. Her hands cherished my body as mine roamed, every curve and hollow of her. We both sought to etch this flawless moment into our memories before the world interrupted. Driving back to the city, the cabin's peace still enveloping us like a cocoon, I sensed a profound change occurring between us. The barriers we had constructed from various fears were finally crumbling. But as the New York skyline emerged as I gazed through the windshield, I couldn't help but ponder whether the bond we had forged in solitude could withstand the forces eager to pull us in different directions. A gentle knock echoed on Bella's front door at 7 a.m. on a brisk October morning. We were sharing coffee in her kitchen, fingers intertwined across the marble counter. Her expression turned pale at the unexpected arrival. Stood on her doorstep. "Charles." Bella's voice trembled as she opened the door to a tall figure in an elegant suit. Even I could see the family resemblance in her sharp blue eyes and aristocratic cheekbones. "Hello, sister. Charlotte." Stuart entered uninvited, his eyes scanning Bella's relaxed attire with a hint of disdain, and descending upon me with an unmistakable intent. It seems the whispers were accurate. "Elena, I'd like you to meet my brother Charles. Charles, this is Elena Washington, the public figure." "Servant," he said, not extending his hand. "How quaint that you're slumming again, Bella." "Get out," Bella said, softly. Yet, Charles paid her no mind, prowling the kitchen like a hunter surveying the landscape. Parents fretted over. "Your latest project focuses on writing therapy at community centers for urban children. It's truly inspiring. Elegant, yet costly." Her grin was sharp and fleeting, particularly around relatives. "There's so much on the line. My inheritance is my responsibility. Not when you're pouring resources into futile endeavors while the family name finds herself navigating the gritty streets of Newark." Charles pulls out his phone, flipping through images. "Did you think that your partner's coworkers were silent?" A chill ran through me as he revealed social media updates from the city. Colleagues whispering about my connection with Bella. Some comments less than kind. "Elena is dealing with inquiries regarding personal entanglements." Charles carried on effortlessly. "It's challenging to uphold professional integrity when sharing a bed with someone you work closely with." "That's it," I declared, finally speaking up. "This is a matter of personal ties." "Is it really? Because, from my perspective, you're someone who spotted a chance and seized it. A city worker with a keen eye for opportunity." His words struck deep. Like unexpected encounters, Bella has a tendency to connect with those in need. Typically, she finds bored and moves on. "Charles, stop!" Bella stepped between us, her voice trembling with fury. "My father delivered an ultimatum: sever all connections with her and the Newark project, or risk losing everything. No financial safety net, no familial backing, no name to pave the way." Hung in the air, heavy and electric. Bella's expression shifted, revealing layers of emotion that danced between vulnerability and strength, each flicker a testament to the unspoken bond we shared. It felt like surrender. "Go," she murmured. "Bella, Think wisely about this. Without the support of family wealth, you won't be able to maintain the lifestyle you've grown used to, and she isn't in a position to provide that for you, I commanded. Go away! After Charles left, Bella leaned against the kitchen counter, her expression revealing a weariness that belied her 35 years. She's not wrong. I mentioned the whispers around the office, I said thoughtfully. My supervisor summoned me yesterday, inquiring about the connection. Compromises my objectivity. What did you tell him? That my personal life doesn't influence my professional judgment. But, Elena, I brushed my fingers against her arm. If your family turns their back on you because of me, they've been searching for a reason for ages. Her laugh held a trace of bitterness. This only provided them with more fuel for their fire, but uncertainty began to seep into her voice, and I saw the girl who had been raised in privilege, grappling with the harsh truths of a life stripped of its comforts. 2 days later, our deepest anxieties came to life at Geppi's, the charming Italian spot we adore downtown. We were enjoying our pasta, lost in a moment of unspoken feelings. Everything felt ordinary when she walked over to our table. Bella's former partner appeared just as captivating as in the pictures she had cherished. Distinguished, confident, the kind of person who belonged in boardrooms and country clubs. She smiled at Bella like they exchanged heartfelt confessions. Bella, you look absolutely stunning, Marcus said, brushing aside. Entirely. I heard about your family troubles. Such an unfortunate situation, Marcus. Bella's voice was soft, laced with empathy as she leaned closer, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding. Frozen wilderness. What is it that you desire? To support a cherished companion. Your father and I talked about the circumstance, and we are confident that a resolution exists that serves the interests of all involved. She drew out a chair and settled in without invitation, her presence enveloping the small table with an intensity that was hard to ignore. A heartfelt contribution to your new collaboration endeavor. Complete harmony among loved ones. And all you need to do is turn your back on this chapter you're navigating. Stage. At last, I discovered my true expression. Her smile was condescending. In our 20s, we explore various paths and embrace new experiences. Yet as time goes on, reality often takes precedence. As if, excuse me? Bella inquired softly. Like the reality that affection doesn't cover medical expenses as your parents grow older, or sustain a cherished property that has been passed down through your family for many years. Her voice took on a soft, inviting tone. What we shared was truly special, Bella. A connection that felt right. We were left with emptiness, Bella responded. Yet, I sensed a hint of doubt woven into her speech. Consider the practical aspects. What is possible? She presents you with something I can't. A small, cozy space. Financial burdens weighing you down. A future filled with challenges in managing finances. I rose suddenly. The sound of chairs scraping against the tile. Excuse me, please. In the dimly lit restroom, I found myself lost in thought, gazing at my reflection. Her words linger in my thoughts. What could I possibly give to someone like Bella? My government salary hardly paid for the rent. My idea of indulgence was ordering in rather than whipping up a meal myself. My life revolved around financial discussions and local gatherings. Grievances, not generosity. Galas and trips across Europe. When I returned to the table, Marcus had vanished, leaving Bella seated there, gazing at the glass of wine that remained untouched. What did you share with him? To part ways. Isolated. But she looked up, her blue eyes filled with a swirl of uncertainty. But she's right. Concerning certain matters. My inheritance covers all my expenses. This space, the vehicle, the estate. Without it? Without it, you would. Discover your true self beyond the confines of financial status. Simple for you to express. You've existed without wealth. I'm unsure of how to proceed. The words pierced through the silence, exposing the deep chasm that lay between our hearts. I had battled for everything I possessed while she was consumed by the fear of losing what she had never truly claimed. Perhaps that's something you should consider. I need to understand, I said softly. That night, I lay awake in her vast bed, feeling. The gap between us felt like an unbridgeable chasm, an expanse that refused to shrink. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft and tentative. The shadows. I don't know if I'm strong enough to lose everything. You wouldn't lose everything. You'd lose the mistakes. She faced me, and in the soft glow of the moonlight streaming through the luxurious curtains, I glimpsed a woman ensnared, caught in a liminal space where acceptance felt elusive. What if I choose you and we falter? What if affection isn't enough? Then at least you'll know you chose genuinely, instead of opting for comfort. Her kiss tasted like tears and longing, like someone striving to capture a fleeting moment before it vanished into the ether, as dawn illuminated. As I gazed at Newark's skyline, it dawned on me that Charles and Marcus had managed to sow seeds of uncertainty that would bereft, either unite us or shatter us entirely. The question lingered. Did Bella possess the bravery to discover? The phone call arrived on a rainy Thursday morning as I sat in my office, immersed in budget projections. The voice on the other end was polished and detached, presenting all my fantasies yet lacking the warmth I craved. Miss Washington, this is Sarah Chen, reaching out from the San Francisco Urban Development Coalition. We've been keeping an eye on your... I work in Newark and would like to extend an invitation for you to join us as the Senior Planning Director. My pen has come to a halt over the sound. Spreadsheet. San Francisco, 3,000 miles away from Bella, tangled in the intricate web of our emotions. The connection had evolved from the murmurs that trailed behind me in the City Hall hallways. The compensation is driven and determined, Sarah pressed on. The role offers comprehensive benefits and support for relocation. We're in search of a candidate who appreciates the importance of nurturing connections within a community. What led you to discover my work? Your name has traveled far and wide. We were truly captivated by your perspective on collaborative ventures. Once the call ended, I found myself lost in thought, gazing at the notes. I had jotted down my thoughts. A salary that was twice what I currently earned, an allowance for my apartment, and a signing bonus. All the things Marcus had mentioned about. The promise of independence resonated within me. Yet, rather than relying on Bella's wealth, this was my journey to forge. I held the conversation close to my heart for 3 days spent grappling with choices that seemed to embody both freedom and fear. A journey to California signified beginning anew, creating something uniquely mine, demonstrating that I could thrive without relying on anyone's generosity or networks. It also meant escaping from the first woman I had ever loved wholeheartedly. On Friday evening, guilt gnawed at me as Bella, and I strolled through Branch Brook Park, the crisp autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet. She had changed since her brothers. She noticed the distance between them, as if a part of her was already retreating. "You're quiet tonight," she remarked. "Is it work stress?" We settled onto our familiar bench, gazing at the tranquil pond where ducks congregated for their evening feast. The serene atmosphere felt both serene and delicate, as if it could break apart with the slightest hint of truth. "Elena, I have to share something with you." "Something," Bella said softly. My heart skipped a beat. "What?" "I've been reflecting on what Charles mentioned. What she was offered. Perhaps there's truth in what they say. Just about." "What do you mean?" "Concerning realism. About creating a lasting connection instead of merely existing in fleeting moments." Her voice was soft and inviting, a melody that wrapped around the heart like a warm embrace, meticulously managed. The tone she adopted during professional gatherings. "My financial support won't endure indefinitely if I continue to finance endeavors that lack the support of loved ones. So, you're selecting them. I'm embracing what's real." Our paths are so distinct, Elena. Perhaps attempting to close that distance is only preparing us for sorrow. The words struck with the force of tangible impacts. I observed her silhouette in the dimming glow, etching the shape of her face into my memory. The way the evening shadows danced over the familiar contours I had cherished with my lips many times before. Is this driven by wealth or by apprehension? Perhaps they are one and the same. I rose suddenly, a tumult of frustration and pain battling within me. All right. If that's truly how you feel, if you truly understand, then you must know I've received a job offer in San Francisco. Bella's facade began to shatter. What do you mean? Advanced arrangements. Leader. San Francisco Urban Development Coalition. Exciting opportunities. Comprehensive perks. A fresh beginning awaits. Free from any complex entanglements. 3 days ago, the silence lingered between us. We are like shattered reflections. When she finally found her voice, it came out as a soft, delicate whisper. Are you ready for this? I'm not sure. It all hinges on whether there's something truly meaningful to hold on to. That was my beginning. The time has come for her to embrace us instead of fear, to select love in place of safety. Instead, she turned her gaze elsewhere, the serene pond where graceful ducks glided over the shimmering dark water. Perhaps you should consider accepting it, she suggested at last. A new beginning could be just what I need, for both of us. The words broke apart a piece of me that I hadn't realized was intact. I chuckled, but it escaped, hurt and shattered. Have you ever thought about what's amusing? You're so terrified of being owned that you're ready to give yourself away to your family instead. That's quite unjust, don't you think? You would prefer return to Marcus and his sensible affection instead of striving for something genuine with me. It's not about them. It's about enduring against the odds, about creating a connection that endures rather than one that flickers and fades away. I turned and left without a word. Leaving her sitting alone on the bench where we had spent countless evenings dreaming of futures that felt just out of reach. Returning to in my cozy apartment, I reached out to Sarah Chen to gather information about moving to San Francisco. The dialogue was charged, surreal, as if I were navigating the intricacies of another's existence while my own unraveled before my eyes. Caitlin discovered me there an hour later, surrounded by the remnants of ambition and the echoes of laughter. Elena, can you tell me what went on? Bella prioritized security over her heart's desires. I prioritized my own well-being instead of risking emotional pain. The opportunity in San Francisco awaits my decision. Embrace. Caitlin settled next to me on the couch, her fingers gliding over the contract pages filled with remarkable salary figures. This is wonderful. Wealth. It's a way out. At times, they intertwine seamlessly. For a week, we found ourselves wrapped in a world of our own, exploring the depths of our connection and the unspoken desires that lingered between us. I lived in isolated spheres of sorrow. I immersed myself in the details of planning for the future, while steering clear of any spot that could bring back thoughts of Bella. She seemingly followed suit because Newark suddenly felt vast enough to shelter two shattered souls who had once discovered solace in one another's embrace. The ultimate strike arrived via Caitlin, who learned from a friend employed at the prosecutor's office, Marcus Henley and Bella Stewart. They were spotted enjoying dinner at the Metropolitan Club last night, Caitlin remarked with a hint of playful malice. Gazed. Quite inviting, as my source describes it. I signed the contract that afternoon, effective in 2 weeks. The papers felt like the final chapter of a love story that had only ever been written in dreams and longing. That night, the phone vibrated, signaling a message from Bella. I've heard whispers of San Francisco. I apologize. I gazed at the message for what felt like an eternity before finally crafting a reply. Same here. A new message popped up right away. For what reason? It's truly valuable. My love for you runs deep. My fingers lingered above the keyboard, anticipation swirling in the air, devastatingly poignant once more. At last, I wrote, affection wasn't sufficient. This time, she remained silent. The following morning arrived with unexpected warmth. Embrace. October masquerading as July. I strolled through the well-known streets of Newark, searching to hold on to moments I would soon forget. Corner shops, the melody of diverse tongues blending on the streets, the way morning light caressed the brick buildings, casting hues of longing and possibility. In 2 weeks, I'll be in California creating a fresh beginning unburdened by tangled emotions and unattainable decisions. The inquiry lingered on if escaping truly embodied liberation, or the biggest error I could ever commit. As the clock struck 3 a.m., a sudden clarity washed over me, illuminating the final 4 days I had in Newark, resting. In my vacant apartment filled with boxes, I came to understand that fleeing to California wasn't an act of bravery. It was the familiar dread that led Bella to select Marcus instead of facing the unknown. We were both afraid, each of us fleeing in our own way. My phone lit up with 17 missed calls from Caitlin, each one marked as urgent. With my heart racing, I dialed the number again. Elena, thank you. Divine. Where have you been hiding? Preparing? What's the matter? Bella's experiencing something unique. Of collapse. She's been reaching out to the office, eager to speak with you about something significant she has to share. Her voice. Caitlin hesitated. Her voice was filled with urgency. She embraced her decision. Did she really? Because Jose dropped by earlier, he mentioned seeing her at the city planning meeting this afternoon. She rose during, shared your thoughts, and stood up for your efforts on the community center initiative. Shared with the whole council that you were the most devoted and passionate individual she had ever collaborated with. My breath hitched. What do you mean? Her voice lingered in the air. Those who doubt your integrity due to personal connections are merely seeking reasons to undermine initiatives that support underprivileged youth. Elena stood up for you, boldly facing the crowd. Where is she with someone now? That's the reason I've been reaching out. She has been longing to connect with you all night. Something about her and the connection they shared. Family and choices she can't undo unless she discovers you this evening. I found myself in my car before Caitlin had even wrapped up her words, cruising along the quiet roads of Newark, heading towards Meadowbrook Ranch. The gate stood open, a rare sight at this late hour, and lights flickered brightly in every window of the main house. I discovered Bella in the stables, still clad in her work attire, the outfit she had donned for the city meeting, nestled in Thunder stall with her arms hugging her knees. She gazed upward. When I entered, her face was streaked with tears. Elena. Her voice trembled as she spoke to me. Name? I never expected to see you here. Caitlin insisted it was important. I firmly declined Marcus's proposal. This evening, amidst the company of New York's social elite, her laughter trembled softly. I expressed that I'd prefer to have nothing at all, and genuine, rather than wealthy, and masquerading as someone I'm not. My heart raced within my chest. What about your family? She can have the trust fund. I'll find a way to thrive without relying on tainted gains. She rose with a gentle grace. Hey, holding on tight to her luxurious skirt. I attended that city meeting to openly champion your efforts, to demonstrate to all that a connection doesn't undermine your professionalism. It beautifully highlights it, Bella. Fear gripped me, knowing I could lose it all. Yet the moment you turned your back, I realized I had already lost the one thing that truly mattered. Wealth. We can't reclaim what once was ours. I gazed at her, looking beyond the stylish attire and flawless makeup to the person who'd embraced passion over safety, authenticity over ease. I softly confessed that I had signed the San Francisco contract. A sharp sting pierced through. A soft smile spread across her face, but she nodded. It seems I've missed my chance. The role won't begin for another 2 weeks. Elena, what are you doing? What are you trying to express? I stepped into the stall, close enough to see the flicker of hope battling with fear in her blue eyes. I'm expressing that we are both fools who nearly discarded something remarkable out of fear of getting hurt. But your work, your passion, I will endure. San Francisco may seek a new planner, but there will never be another you in my heart. When our lips met, it flavored with fresh starts and the promise of what could be. Her arms enveloped me with a fervent sense of relief, embracing me as if she had never release your hold again. Her breath brushed softly against my lips as she confessed her love. Not your possibilities, not what I envision you becoming. Just you, perfectly as you are. I adore you, as well. Each one of you, along with the emotional entanglements and societal challenges. Half a year had passed, and I found myself in the cozy kitchen of the quaint cottage. Bella had established her presence on the ranch, observing as she guided a group of younger kids in the art of saddling horses with care and precision. Counseling appointment. The community center project had endured political hurdles and familial resistance, supported by funding through a blend of modest donations, local support efforts, and Bella's thoughtful oversight of the resources that were left. The legacy she never expected. We had discovered the art of creating something beautiful side by side. Not her wealth fixing my issues or my dignity, refusing her assistance, yet fostering a true collaboration that respected our individual strengths and recognized our boundaries. A message lit up my phone, vibrating with anticipation. Do you still believe you made the best decision by remaining in Newark? I gazed outside. The window at Bella guiding a young girl around the paddock. They shared laughter as the horse playfully nudged for treats. The autumn sun bathed the world in a warm, golden hue. And for the first time in my adult life, I felt like I was truly in the right place, was meant to be. The most incredible choice I've ever embraced, I responded to Caitlin. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Bella and I strolled hand in hand through the familiar paths of Branch Brook Park, the very place where we had nearly parted ways for good. The seat, where we had exchanged countless whispers, now silent, anticipating other pairs to find out if affection could span the gaps that separate diverse realms. No regrets, Bella inquired, her grip tightening around my gentle touches. It was just that we nearly allowed our fears to dictate our decisions. She paused in her steps, pivoting to meet my gaze with the same enchanting smile that had drawn me in amidst the bustling aisles of that bookstore. Elena Washington, she uttered with a weighty seriousness. Will you create a life that defies all odds with me? I kissed her beneath the glow of the streetlights that transformed the everyday streets of Newark into a realm of enchantment, lingering sweetly on her lips. Certainly,